What if everything you desire in life, the success, the fulfillment, the peace, the strength, the confidence, was already within you? What if the only barrier between the person you are today and the person you are capable of becoming is not time, not luck, not circumstance, but a decision? A single decision. The decision to no longer settle for less than you are capable of. The decision to stop hiding behind excuses. The decision to take ownership of your life. Every person carries two versions of themselves. There is the version shaped by doubt, fear, and hesitation. The version that constantly whispers or stays safe, small, don't try, don't risk, don't change. And then there is a version fueled by courage, purpose, and potential. The version that says, there's more in you, more strength, more greatness, more life. Which version do you choose to live as? Because that choice determines everything. Most people never meet the best version of themselves. They settle into routines, live in comfort zones, and allow their potential to remain locked away, untested, unseen, unexpressed. They carry inside them untapped greatness, but let fear dictate the course of their days. They convince themselves that someday they will rise. Someday they will change. Someday they will finally step into the life they dream of. But a someday is a thief, and it steals from you every single day you postpone your transformation. The truth is simple, yet powerful. Becoming the best version of you is not a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice. It doesn't require perfect timing, perfect conditions, or perfect resources. It requires a willingness to begin, the courage to continue, and the discipline to rise again when you fall. Nothing else. Think about this. Every great achiever, every leader, every innovator, every person you admire once stood where you are right now. They had doubts. They had fears. They had limitations. The difference, they refused to bow to the weaker version of themselves. They decided to rise. They decided to embrace discomfort, to embrace discomfort, to embrace the challenge of becoming more than they were yesterday. And that decision changed their lives. This is the moment to stop underestimating the power inside you, because inside you is resilience you haven't discovered yet. Inside you is discipline you haven't demanded yet. Inside you is a voice of courage louder than your fears if you choose to listen to it. Inside you is the ability to rebuild, to reinvent, to redefine what your life looks like from this day forward. But understand this, no one else can do it for you. Not your friends, not your family, not your mentors. Others may inspire you, guide you, encourage you, but at the end of the day, only you can decide to rise. Only you can decide that enough is enough. Only you can decide to unlock the best version of yourself. The question is not can you become more? The answer is already yes. The real question is, will you? Will you take the steps? Will you make the sacrifices? Will you embrace the discomfort that growth requires? Will you silence the voice of fear long enough to hear the roar of your own potential? Because the world does not benefit from you playing small. The world does not need another copy of someone else. The world needs you, fully alive, fully awake, fully committed to becoming all that you were created to be. The best version of you is not just a dream, it is a responsibility. A responsibility to yourself, to your future, and to every life that your courage and strength will one day inspire. And it all begins with one decision, today, right now, to rise, to build, to refuse, to settle, to step forward into the best version of you. Becoming the best version of yourself does not mean transforming into someone else. It does not mean chasing another person's path, living someone else's dream, or wearing a mask to fit the world's expectations. It is about stripping away everything false, everything borrowed, everything that does not belong to you, and uncovering the truth of who you already are. Too often, identity is built on fragile foundations. People define themselves by titles, by possessions, by status, by opinions. But what happens when the title changes? When the possessions are gone? When the world's approval shifts to criticism? If identity is built on what can be taken away, then it was never truly yours. The strongest identity comes from within, from the unshakable understanding that who you are is greater than what you have, greater than what you do, greater than what others say about you. Ask yourself, who am I when everything else is stripped away? Who am I when no one is watching? Who am I beyond the noise of the world? These are not simple questions, but they are the most important ones. Because until you know who you truly are, You will always chase after shadow, always measure yourself by others, and always feel like something is missing. The best version of you is not created by imitation. It is discovered by alignment. Alignment between your values and your actions, between your potential and your pursuit, between your deepest truth and your daily choices. When identity and action match, there is power. When they conflict, there is pain. Many people spend their lives trying to become enough by chasing validation. They want to be admired, accepted, applauded. But the truth is, you were already enough the moment you were born. The best version of you is not about proving your worth. It is about expressing it. It is about letting your actions reflect the greatness that already lives inside. Understand this. Identity is not fixed. It is not written in stone. It is a living, breathing force that evolves with the decisions you make. Every choice you take either reinforces the weaker version of you or strengthens the greater version. Every time you act with courage instead of fear, discipline instead of laziness, truth instead of lies, you are shaping a stronger identity. And identity is destiny. Think about it. People who see themselves as strong, act strong. People who see themselves as disciplined make disciplined choices. People who see themselves as leaders rise to lead. It always begins with how you see yourself. If you carry the belief that you are weak, you will behave weakly. If you carry the belief that you are limited, you will live within limits. But if you choose to believe that within you lies resilience, creativity, strength, and greatness, your life will begin to rise to meet that belief. Identity is the root. Actions are the fruit. Too often people try to change their lives by forcing actions while ignoring the root. But lasting transformation only happens when you redefine how you see yourself. If you want to change your life, first change the story you tell yourself about who you are. The best version of you is not someone far away. It is not a stranger. It is not unreachable. It is already within you, waiting to be chosen, waiting to be lived. Your task is not to build it from nothing, but to remove the layers of doubt, fear, and false identity that have been covering it. The truth is this: you do not have to become someone else. You only have to become more of yourself. The strongest, truest, most powerful version of you. And when that version rises, everything changes. Your confidence, your relationships, your purpose, your impact. Because the world always recognizes authenticity. And nothing is more powerful than a person living in alignment with their true identity. The journey to becoming the best version of yourself cannot begin without self-awareness. Self-awareness is a mirror that reflects not who the world says you are, but who you truly are. It is the light that exposes both your strengths and your weaknesses, your potential and your pitfalls. Without it, you walk blindly, stumbling through life, reacting instead of creating, existing instead of living. With it, you gain the power to shape your life with intention. The first step in self-awareness is brutal honesty. Honesty about your habits, your choices, your excuses, and your results. Too often, people run from the truth of where they are. They cover it up with distractions, with busyness, with denial. But the best version of you will never be found in avoidance. It is found in acknowledgement. You cannot transform what you are unwilling to face. Ask yourself, what are the patterns holding me back? Where am I sabotaging myself? What stories am I telling that keep me small? These questions are not easy to answer. They demand humility. They demand courage. But they are the gateway to growth. Because once you see the truth clearly, you can no longer remain unchanged. Self-awareness also means recognizing the power of your beliefs. Every belief is like a lens through which you see the world. If the lens is distorted, your life will be distorted. If you believe you are not good enough, every opportunity will feel out of reach. If you believe success is only for others, you will never claim it for yourself. But if you shift those beliefs, if you begin to see yourself as capable, worthy, strong, your actions and your results will transform to match that vision. Awareness of your strengths is just as important. Too many people obsess over their flaws while ignoring their gifts. They see only what is missing instead of what is possible. But the best version of you is not built on perfection. It is built on the full embrace of both your strengths and your weaknesses. When you know your strengths, you can amplify them. When you know your weaknesses, you can manage them. Awareness gives you mastery. Think of self-awareness as your internal compass. Without it, you drift, tossed around by circumstance and opinion. With it, you can chart a course, make deliberate choices, and move with clarity. It allows you to ask in every situation, is this aligned with who I want to become? That question alone can save you years of wasted time and countless detours down roads that lead nowhere. But self-awareness is not a one-time discovery. It is a lifelong practice, because as you grow, you change. Your values evolve, your goals expand, your perspective deepens. Without constant self-reflection, you risk outgrowing your old identity while still living inside it. To be the best version of yourself, you must continuously return to that mirror and ask, who am I now? What must I let go of? What must I embrace next? True self-awareness is not about judgment. It is about clarity. It is not about labeling yourself as broken or flawed. It is about seeing yourself with accuracy so you can rise with intention. Every mistake becomes feedback. Every weakness becomes a lesson. Every failure becomes an invitation to grow. When you cultivate self-awareness, you gain freedom. Freedom from repeating the same cycles unconsciously. Freedom from being trapped in old stories. Freedom to rewrite the script of your life with conscious choice. That is the power of awareness. It transforms life from something that happens to you into something you actively create. The best version of you begins with the courage to look inward, to face your truth without fear, to own your choices without excuses, to recognize that your life today is the product of your past decisions, and your life tomorrow will be the product of the decisions you make now. Awareness gives you back your power, and with that power, transformation is not just possible, it is inevitable. No one becomes the best version of themselves by accident. Growth is never the result of drifting, it is the result of direction. And that direction comes from vision. Vision not just about what you want to achieve, it is about who you want to become. Without it, life becomes a cycle of repetition, a pattern of days that look the same, months that pass unnoticed, and years that vanish without meaning. With vision, every step has purpose, every action has weight, and every sacrifice has value. Vision is the ability to see beyond where you are. It is the courage to imagine a future greater than your present, even when circumstances tell you otherwise. The strongest lives are built by those who dared to dream something different, who looked at their current reality and said, this is not the limit. I can become more, I will become more. That is the power of vision. It pulls you forward when the present tries to hold you back. But vision must be clear. A blurred vision creates a blurred light. Vague goals lead to vague results. Saying, I'm gonna be better is not enough. Better how? Better at what? Better for whom? The best version of you requires a vision so vivid that you can see it in your mind, feel it in your heart, and believe in it with such conviction that it becomes impossible to ignore. Clarity of vision brings power. When you know exactly who you want to become, decisions become simpler. Every choice can be measured against the question, does this bring me closer to my vision, or does it pull me further away? And with every decision aligned, momentum builds. Step by step, choice by choice, the gap between your current self begins to close. Do not confuse vision with fantasy. Fantasy is wishing without action. Vision is imagining with intention. Fantasy waits for luck. Vision builds with discipline. The best version of you is not creating daydreams. It is forged in daily actions that honor the vision you hold. Understand this. Vision will test you when the road becomes hard, when progress feels slow, when doubt whispers in your ear. Only vision will keep you moving. Motivation fades. Excitement fades. But vision endures because vision is anchored in purpose. When you know why you are becoming the best version of yourself, the how becomes possible. Ask yourself, what do I see when I imagine the best version of me? How do I walk, speak, act, and live? What values guide me? What impact do I create? The clearer the answers, the stronger the vision. And the stronger the vision, the greater the pull. You will find yourself willing to work harder, sacrifice deeper, and endure longer. Because you are no longer just living for today. You are living for the future you refuse to let slip away. Vision also protects you from distraction. In a world full of noise, it is easy to lose focus. Easy to chase after things that look urgent but do not matter. Easy to be swayed by the opinions and expectations of others. But when vision is alive within you, distractions lose their power. You cannot be swayed when you are anchored. You cannot be detoured when you know your destination. The best version of you is waiting on the other side of vision. Without it, you will wander. With it, you will build. Without it, you will repeat old cycles. With it, you will rise into new possibilities. So hold the vision close. Write it down. So hold the vision close. Speak it aloud. Guard it. Feed it. And most importantly, live it every single day. Because vision without action is empty. But vision lived out with discipline has the power to reshape not just your life, but the lives of everyone you touch. That motivation is powerful, but it is fleeting. Inspiration can spark a fire, but without fire quickly burns out. Discipline is the fuel. Discipline is what separates the dreamers from the doers, the talkers from the builders, the wishers from the achievers. It is the unglamorous, often unseen force that transforms vision into reality. Without it, the best version of you remains only an idea. With it, the best version of you becomes inevitable. Discipline is not about punishment. It is about commitment. Commitment to your vision, to your growth, to your purpose. It is the promise you make to yourself that says, I will not quit. No matter how I feel, no matter how difficult it becomes. Motivation asks, do I feel like it? Discipline says, I'll do it anyway. And that single shift is what creates transformation. Every day, life offers you a choice. The easy path or the disciplined path. The easy path is tempting. It gives you comfort now, but regret later. The disciplined path is harder in the moment, but rewarding in the long run. Discipline is the ability to choose long-term fulfillment over short-term pleasure, to value growth over ease, to do what must be done rather than what is convenient. The truth is simple. Greatness is never built in comfort. The best version of you is forged in the moments when you choose discipline over excuses, consistency over chaos, focus over distraction. Anyone can work hard when it feels good. But the best version of you shows up even when it feels heavy, even when it feels tiring, even when no one is watching. Discipline is not about doing everything. It is about doing the right things consistently. It is about identifying the habits that will shape your growth and making them non-negotiable. It could be the discipline of exercising when your body resists, the discipline of reading when the world distracts, the discipline of saving when it is easier to spend, the discipline of saying a no when it would be easier to say yes. Small acts of discipline, repeated daily, create massive results over time. And here's the secret. Discipline builds freedom. At first, it may feel restrictive, as if you are limiting yourself. But over time, discipline frees you. The discipline to take care of your health gives you the freedom of energy and strength. The discipline to manage your time gives you the freedom to focus on what truly matters. The discipline to control your mind gives you the freedom to live without being enslaved by fear or doubt. Discipline is not chains, it is wings. Discipline also strengthens identity. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you are casting a vote for the kind of person you want to be. Every time you show up despite difficulty, you reinforce the truth that you are capable, resilient, unstoppable. Discipline is not just about what you do, it is about who you become. But discipline will be tested. There will be days when your body wants to rest, your mind wants to quit, your heart wants to retreat. These are the moments that define you. Because discipline is not built in the easy days. It is built in the struggle. And every time you push through, you grow stronger, not just in skill, but in character. The best version of you is not built overnight. It is built brick by brick, choice by choice, day after day. And the mortar that holds it all together is discipline. Without it, dreams remain fragile, easily broken by excuses. With it, dreams become structures so strong that no obstacle, no delay, no setback can destroy them. So choose discipline, choose it daily, choose it when it is hard, choose it when it is inconvenient, choose it when everything in you screams for comfort, because discipline is the bridge. And on the other side of that bridge is the strongest, highest, most unstoppable version of you. Fear is one of the greatest barriers to becoming the best version of yourself. Fear whispers in the mind, telling you to stay where it's safe, to shrink back, to avoid risk, to protect what is familiar. But here's the truth. Fear is not the enemy. Fear is a compass. It points directly toward the areas of life where growth is waiting. And courage is the choice to move forward despite that fear. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the mastery of it. It is the moment you feel afraid but act anyway. The moment you hear the doubts but take the step forward regardless. Courage is not about being fearless. It is about refusing to let fear decide the outcome of your life. Every person feels fear, but not every person chooses courage. That single choice separates those who live small from those who rise to greatness. The best version of you cannot be found inside comfort zones. Comfort zones are safe, predictable, and easy, but they are also prisons. They keep you from discovering your strength, from realizing your potential, from experiencing what you are truly capable of. Growth only begins at the edge of comfort, and courage is what takes you there. Think about it. Every breakthrough in life comes after a moment of courage. The courage to start when you feel unprepared. The courage to speak when your voice trembles. The courage to stand when others remain silent. The courage to continue when everything in you wants to give up. Every step toward the best version of you will demand courage, because every step is a step into the unknown. Fear will always come with excuses. It will tell you we're not ready. You don't have enough. You'll fail. People will laugh. You'll lose everything. But courage answers back. Or maybe I will fail. Maybe it will be hard. Maybe others won't understand. But I will try. I will step forward anyway. That response, that defiance of fear, is where power begins. Courage also builds confidence. Confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you earn, and you earn it by acting with courage. The first step may feel shaky, but every step after grows stronger. With each act of courage, you prove to yourself that fear is not stronger than you, that obstacles are not greater than your determination. Courage is the seed, and confidence is the harvest. But courage is not only about bold actions, it is also about daily choice. The courage to admit when you are wrong. The courage to let go of what no longer serves you. The courage to set boundaries. The courage to be honest about your dreams. The courage to be authentically you, even when the world pressures you to conform. These quiet forms of courage are often the most transformative because they shape your character from the inside out. And here's what must be remembered. Courage is contagious. When you choose courage, you inspire others to do the same. Your decision to rise above fear creates a ripple effect, reminding others that they too can rise. The best version of you is not just for yourself. It gives permission for others to awaken their own courage. The truth is this: fear will never disappear. It will always be there waiting at every new level of your life. But courage can grow stronger than fear. Every time you act in courage, fear loses its grip. Every time you step forward despite uncertainty, fear's voice grows weaker. And eventually courage becomes your natural response, not your exception. The best version of you is not hidden behind fear, it's revealed through courage. Every dream you hold, every goal you imagine, every vision of who you could be is waiting on the other side of one choice. To be brave enough to begin excellence is not built in a single day. Transformation is not the result of one grand decision. The best version of you is not unlocked by sudden bursts of effort, but by the quiet, consistent power of habits. Your habits are the architects of your future. They are the invisible threads weaving together the story of your life. Every day, whether you realize it or not, your habits are shaping who you are becoming. They decide whether you move closer to the best version of yourself or drift further away. Small actions, repeated daily, compound over time into extraordinary results or devastating consequences. It is not the occasional choice that defines you, but the repeated one. What you do consistently matters infinitely more than what you do occasionally. Habits are powerful because they work in silence. At first they feel small, almost insignificant. One more workout, one more page read. One more hour invest in your craft. But repeated over weeks, months, and years, these small actions transform into mastery. On the other hand, neglect feels harmless in the moment. One skip workout, one excuse, one decision to procrastinate, but repeated over time, they build a life of regret. The question is never, do I have habits? The question is, are my habits serving me or sabotaging me? The best version of you is hid inside your routines. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. A person with grand goals but weak habits will always be outperformed by someone with steady habits and a clear system. Goals give direction, but habits create progress. Without habits, vision remains a dream. With habits, vision becomes inevitable. Habits also shape identity. Every time you repeat an action, you are reinforcing the story you tell yourself about who you are. If you consistently write, you build the identity of a writer. If you consistently train, you build the identity of an athlete. If you consistently choose discipline, you build the identity of someone unstoppable. Identity is not found. It is forged through repeated behavior. The secret to habits is not perfection. It is consistency. You will stumble. You will miss a day. You will face resistance. But the strongest habits are not built on flawless performance. They are built on relentless return. Every time you fall, you rise again. Every time you miss, you recommit. Progress is not about never failing. It is about never quitting. Habits lead to vague results or to vague results. If you say, I'll get healthier, it means nothing. But if you commit to I will exercise for 30 minutes daily, or I will replace soda with water, you create structure. Structure creates discipline, and discipline builds transformation. The best version of you is not vague, it is precise. And precision is built through deliberate habits. There will be resistance. Your mind will tell you it's too hard. Your body will crave comfort. The world will offer distractions. But habits, once formed, carry their own momentum. At first, you must push yourself to create the habit. Over time, the habit begins to carry you. The work that once felt heavy becomes natural. What once felt forced becomes effortless. That is the gift of habits. They turn effort into instinct. Remember this, your future is not built in giant leap steps. You cannot control the future directly, but you can control the habits you practice today. And those habits, multiplied over time, will create the life you imagine. The best version of you will not appear by chance. It will be built by design. And the design is written in your habits. So choose them wisely, build them relentlessly, guard them fiercely. Because the habits you practice today are shaping the person you will become tomorrow. No journey toward the best version of yourself is free of obstacles. You will face setbacks, disappointments, and failures. There will be moments when progress feels invisible, when effort feels wasted, when quitting seems easier than continuing. And it is in these moments that resilience becomes your greatest strength. Resilience is the ability to rise when you fall, to persist when everything in you wants to give up, to bend without breaking under the weight of struggle. It is the refusal to allow setbacks to define you. It is the choice to see obstacles not as the end of the road, but as the training ground for your future strength. Without resilience, every challenge becomes a reason to stop. With resilience, every challenge becomes a reason to grow. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of it. Every person who has ever achieved greatness has walked through failure. They have faced rejection, doubt, and defeat. The difference is not that they avoided pain, it's that they refused to be broken by it. They understood that resilience is not about never falling. It is about always rising one more time than you fall. Resilience demands perspective. When hardship comes, the easy response is despair. Why me? Why now? But resilience shifts the question to, what can I learn? How can I grow? What strength is being forged in me through this challenge? Pain is never pleasant, but pain can be purposeful if you let it shape you instead of shatter you. The best version of you will not be the version that never struggles. It will be the version that refuses to surrender. Resilience turns wounds into wisdom. It turns trials into teachers. It turns losses into lessons. The strongest people are not those who never suffer. They are those who take suffering and transform it into fuel. Resilience also requires patience. Growth takes time. Progress is not always visible in the moment. Seeds grow underground long before they break the surface. Your efforts may not show results right away, but resilience is what keeps you planting, watering and believing even when the harvest has not yet come. The impatient quit too soon. The resilient endure long enough to reap the reward. Another truth about resilience, it is built, not born. No one is naturally unbreakable. Resilience grows every time you face hardship and choose to rise again. Each setback becomes a test, and each test strengthens you for the next. Over time, you realize you are capable of enduring more than you imagined. What once would have crushed you now becomes fuel for your determination. Resilience is also a shield against fear. When you know you can rise after failure. Fear loses its power. Fear says, what if you fall? Resilience answers, then I will rise. That answer alone frees you to act boldly because the worst outcome, falling, is no longer final. You know you have the strength to come back. And perhaps most importantly, resilience gives hope. Hope that tomorrow can be better than today. Hope that pain can produce purpose. Hope that every storm eventually clears. Resilience whispers, this is not the end. Keep moving, keep believing, keep fighting. The best version of you will not be measured by how many times you avoided difficulty. It will be measured by how many times you chose to rise again. Life will test you, it will stretch you, it will knock you down. But resilience is the power to stand up each time, stronger, wiser, more unshakable than before. So embrace resilience. See every challenge as training. See every setback as preparation. See every fall as an opportunity to rise higher. Because resilience is not just about survival, it is about transformation. And with resilience, there is nothing that can stop the best version of you from emerging. The mind is the battlefield where every victory or defeat in life begins. The way you think shapes the way you act, and the way you act shapes the life you live. Mindset is not just a tool. It is the foundation of every decision, every habit, every success, and every failure. The best version of you cannot exist without cultivating a mindset that empowers, uplifts, and drives you toward growth. Mindset is the lens through which you see the world. If the lens is limited, the world will seem limited. If the lens is fixed, opportunities will feel unreachable. But if the lens is expansive, growth-focused, and fearless, possibilities multiply, challenges shrink, and potential becomes visible. Everything begins with what you allow yourself to believe. A growth mindset is the key to transformation. It is the belief that skills can be developed, that challenges are opportunities, and that failures are not permanent verdicts, but lessons. People with a fixed mindset see talent as innate and effort is secondary. People with a growth mindset understand that effort compounds, learning accelerates progress, and persistence shapes outcomes. The best version of you emerges only when you embrace growth as a way of life. Mindset also determines how you respond to adversity. Two people can face the same challenge. One crumbles under pressure, the other grows stronger. The difference is mindset. A limiting mindset says, this is too hard, I can't do it, it's impossible. A growth mindset says, this is hard, I will learn, I will adapt, I will find a way. One leads to stagnation, the other leads to breakthroughs. Self-talk is the engine of mindset. Every word you say to yourself, every thought you repeat, builds the version of you that you will become. Negative self-talk limits your possibilities. Excuses justify inaction. Doubt paralyzes potential. But intentional, empowering self-talk creates courage, fuels effort, and reinforces belief. The best version of you is built in the conversations you have with yourself long before anyone else notices. Mindset also shapes your perception of failure. Failure is inevitable on the journey to greatness. But how failure is interpreted makes all the difference. A fixed mindset sees failure as proof of inability. A growth mindset sees failure as feedback, a teacher guiding you toward improvement. Every setback becomes a roadmap, every mistake a lesson, every challenge an opportunity to refine your skills and strengthen your character. The best version of you is not born from external circumstances, it is born from internal belief. Circumstances may be harsh, obstacles may be heavy, and critics may be loud, but a strong mindset turns every limitation into a stepping stone. It turns criticism into insight, obstacles into opportunity, and uncertainty into action. Mindset gives you control over what truly matters, your response, your focus, and your persistence. A powerful mindset also requires discipline. It requires choosing thoughts consciously, refusing to dwell on doubt, rejecting negativity, and feeding your mind with clarity, purpose, and vision. Just as the body needs training to grow stronger, the mind needs daily practice to cultivate resilience, optimism, and growth. And finally, mindset is contagious. When you embody a growth mindset, you influence the people around you. You create an environment where possibility feels real, where challenges are embraced, and where excellence becomes natural. Your mindset shapes not only your life, but also the lives of those who follow your lead. The best version of you is first a product of the mind. Everything else, habits, discipline, courage, resilience, follows from it. Without the right mindset, effort can be wasted. With the right mindset, limitations dissolve, potential awakens, and the extraordinary becomes achievable. Choose a mindset that empowers. Choose a mindset that sees opportunity in obstacles. Choose a mindset that believes failure is feedback and effort is unstoppable. Because the best version of you begins not in what you do, but in what you choose to think, believe, and embrace every single day.